Joyce and Ferroni. I haven't seen him, that's why I was waiting. No, Mike, no.
Nope, okay. Joyce's.
Okay,
Bob arranged that, so I can't tell you.
it's 6:05, August 16th. We're starting a planning board meeting. The first thing on the agenda is Stephen Joyce. Christine is Pat. I don't see him in the room. I don't know if he's out in the hall.
We can, if you,
No,
no?
Mike Ferroni is the second on the agenda.
Well, on that first one, I can give you a couple of reasons why we had asked him to come to the board.
Okay.
Did anybody take a ride through there at all, Christina's Path?
I took a ride through, and it's very unfinished.
Well, we have,
Looked like there was maybe one lot left.
yeah, I'm not even sure that there is one lot left. We have a bond of $135,608, and the bond was issued on February 9th, 2007. I spoke to Ed Buckley, and his obvious concerns are that the bind has been down for all these years. We had him coming in every couple of years, and he just kind of stopped. So he hasn't asked for any continuance or extensions on his subdivision.
Excuse me, you're talking about Christina's Path?
Yes, you're here?
Yeah.
Oh, step right up then. State your name for the record.
Steve Joyce?
In the mic, please.
We're just starting.
Good to see you sneak in.
You can give us an update, I guess, on what you're,
Sure.
what you're doing.
Our plans are to complete everything over there, engineering, roadway, sidewalks. I did hear you say about the condition, that the road is in good condition, the pavement that's down there. It's actually in very good condition for 10 years. But I have, Ghana Enterprises will be doing the finish work, sidewalk, and the final coat on the pavement. And Arthur Borden Engineering has been contracted to do the rest of the engineering on the subdivision. And we have to get just a small few items to do with the rest of the project, and then it'll be completed.
And do you have a schedule for us? I mean, we're basically, I think, it's been 11 years now since the bond was put up,
Right.
and we've gone through several extensions.
Yep.
So we're at the point of either finish or we take the bond.
Sure.
And so if you're gonna finish, now's the time, because seasons go by so fast.
Right.
We don't wanna see you sitting here 2 months from now and still haven't done any loam, haven't done any top coat, haven't done any of that.
Right.
So,
We're looking at September, October, between those 2 months to have this complete.
could you give us an in-writing schedule on what your plans are, on what to complete and when, so we can kind of hold your foot to the fire?
Sure.
Could you do that at our next meeting?
And not only that, just so we can you're gonna have to coordinate with Ed Buckley from the Highway Department. Obviously, you're not gonna be able to go and start paving or schedule paving until
Right.
you do a
Right.
walkthrough with him. He might have them cut up where you filled along where the granite curbing was. There's a lot of grass growing on that 6-inch piece there, going all the way around. He might have that dug up. I'm quite sure he's
I'm
not.
not sure, when you say 6-inch piece, what are you referring to? There was like a foot, or maybe
Yeah, 6, 8 inches, 10 inches out from the curbing.
okay,
There's row grass that runs around the whole place.
right,
So your road's here, your blacktop's here, and then when they dug for the curbing, I'm sure they must have just cemented it. You have to cement the curbs in.
right.
Well, you have grass growing.
They're actually weeds, I believe.
All right,
There was
well,
some of that, yes.
grass, weeds,
Yeah,
whatever you want to call
yeah,
it.
okay.
And you have a crack that runs right down center of your cul-de-sac that also has weeds growing through
Right,
it.
right.
So those things there, Ed's gonna have you recut and have that taken out and put new binder down before you can pave that. So I just want you to make sure that if we do get that letter for the next meeting, then you can schedule with Ed Buckley to do his, his walkthrough.
Well, I think by the next meeting, we should have already walked through it with Ed. We could have a correspondence from Ed, which Bob's not here, but if Maureen,
Yeah.
you could relate that to Bob, that
Yes.
have him coordinate that. But by the next meeting, you should have a walkthrough with Ed, have his list of what has to be done, give us a schedule of your construction schedule. It has to be done this season. I mean, it can't go through the winter anymore. It has to be done by this season.
No, those were our plans. Unfortunately, we got caught in the bad market years ago where, nothing.
That's,
But-
that is what it is. Now we're in a great market, and the next couple of years we'll be in a bad market
No,
again.
now we're done. The last house is done, and we're ready to get this done.
Okay.
That was my question. Last house has just been done?
It's done. It's finished. It's done. It's gone, sold.
Okay. So there's no reason for heavy equipment to be in there once the road is done?
Correct, and that's what we were
Okay.
waiting for also, was to, heavy equipment going down on the binder.
If you reach out to Ed Buckley, like Mr. Gallagher said before the next meeting, it might even be a good idea, instead of waiting, because he is paving White Street, and his concern is how he's gonna tie in sidewalks to your sidewalk. You have a handicap egress entrance you have to do.
Right.
So he's trying to coordinate all that, and that's,
Okay, what I'll do is I'll bring my, my paving contractor over with him, and we'll sit down and discuss things and have him come out and take a look with us.
all right. And then then like Mr. Gallagher said, and then after that, prepare a letter, send it in to planning board, just giving us your
Sure,
your
okay.
list of time frame when that's gonna be done. I have nothing else on that.
So we'll see you on September 6th after your meeting with Mr. Buckley and with your construction
I'm not sure I
schedule.
can make it here, but I'll have, in writing, the different things that you guys are asking for.
Yeah, I think that would be fine if he gets the letter in writing and you have schedules and dates. You're gonna have to coordinate all that with Mr. Buckley anyway.
Right.
He's the one that's gonna be taking over from here, so
Okay.
as long as we have the list that we can, we can make sure that it's gonna be done this year, then
Okay.
that way you can sign off on your bond and release that thing. I'm sure you're still paying on that.
Yes, we're getting a little tired of plowing too, so we'd like it to be accepted by the town, so.
Well, if you want that done, you better have all your stuff done by the end of September, because town meeting's gonna be end of October, November. Otherwise, you're gonna spend another winter plowing, so it'd behoove you to get all your,
Now, just
get your road complete.
Just one last thing on that. It's been 10 years, so you have a certificate of action that was approved. You should make sure you pull that out, and line by line, you go through it. Because when we send out our town engineer to do his review, he's gonna pull out that, and he's gonna say, well, this ain't done, or this ain't done. That way, you're working off the same, your original certificate of action from 2007, that's what you have to go by.
Okay, that would be the action that was recorded with the registry of
Correct.
deeds, I believe.
And it
Okay.
should, right, and it should be,
Should be actually on the front
on
sheet of the plan.
yeah, it should be on your plan. So I would make sure that that's what when you go to Ed Buckley and you're talking to all your subs, that's what you should be looking at.
Okay,
That way there, you're not missing something.
okay, good enough.
All right?
There for you by the 6th then.
Okay, thanks for coming in.
6th of September, correct?
Yep.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Okay, second thing on the agenda, I think I just saw him walk in the room, Mike Ferroni, on Pine Street property. And I know I talked to Bob Iafredi, who's not here tonight, and Mike had purchased a piece of property on Pine Street, on the Bridgewater side. There was also another piece on the Rainham side that I think Nick Harris did. And I'm not sure the status of the paving, but I know there was a roadway improvement plan that was done. And from what I understand is you have to have the roadway improved to the end of your property line prior to an occupancy permit. It's a suggestion. And in other words, building permits could be issued, but no occupancy permits could be issued until
Could you say
the
your name for the
pavement's
record?
Mike Ferroni, from Briarwood Construction.
Okay. The only problem I have with that, none of those plans have been recorded, so how do we know who's doing what?
The Harris plan hasn't been recorded.
Harris plan hasn't been recorded. Maureen, have you found any recordings on Harris? I looked it up at the,
I don't have any slips showing it was.
I looked it up at the registry of deeds, there's nothing there. I looked up, we had done an approval on, Mr. Connie came in for that
Yep.
piece with Bridgewater, and that's already past 6 months.
Really?
So that's gonna have to come back to the planning board for signature, so it would be my suggestion or recommendation to Mr. Iafredi, how can he issue a building permit on a road that's, who's doing it? It's not even, there's nothing, the planning board hasn't even, did we sign off on all of the,
Oh, we're talking the Carney subdivision on Pine Street?
yeah, Connie
That
and,
was signed on March 2nd, I think,
but it's not recorded.
of 17, so actually it's way over.
Yeah, so it's not even recorded, so that's gonna have to come back for us for signatures. So if he wants to,
The Harris piece was also signed off but not recorded.
I haven't seen, I looked it up and she
The
doesn't,
Harris piece, excuse me, what is the Harris piece? I'm with Mr. Carney, so whatever you need from him is not an issue. He was actually supposed to be with me tonight, but he wasn't feeling well.
well, the Harris piece was, we approved an extension of Pine Street. And that extension, I believe he had 2 houses, was it 2 houses on
Yeah, I think so.
Pine Street?
On the Bridgewater side?
No,
No,
we're not in Bridgewater, we're in Rainham, so anything that,
just past Wayne Arms.
Okay, yes,
past
yeah,
Wayne
the
Arms
Pine
piece on
Street,
the
I
right.
meant Pine Street on the Bridgewater side,
And
I'm
you're on,
sorry.
you're on the other side, but
Yeah.
just past Wayne Arms
Yes,
was him.
yeah.
Then beyond that was Connie.
Yes,
So without Bob here to further explain,
yeah,
I think what's going to happen is we're going to have to flesh that out and come back the next meeting.
sure.
well,
I think, what
I don't think,
did you do, a Form A plan?
I don't think Bob needs to be here to explain anything. The question is he doesn't, there's no plans filed, so who's doing it? Mr. Connie came,
What I'm saying is, Mr. Ferroni, that would mean he's handcuffed by other individuals.
Oh.
And we don't want to have that. So if he had to come in showing the same plan to go to his property line, that's what might have to happen.
Right.
And the work's the work. I mean, if he does the roadway up to that point, according to such and such a plan,
well, that's,
even though their plan isn't
Exactly.
recorded,
Well,
that's still a
that's what you have to
certificate of
tell
action
them,
you could do.
you have to tell them that. Why wait 2 weeks to tell them that?
Yeah.
We don't need Bob to tell them that. That's, whoever got the plan approved, which was Connie,
Yes,
he did step 1.
yes,
He didn't do step 2. He has to record it.
okay,
So it can't be recorded, it has to come back to the planning board because it's past 6 months.
okay,
So we have to re-sign it.
Yes.
It has to get recorded,
okay,
and then you have to read the certificate of action. So
I
the
understand.
certificate of action is going to tell you everything that you're supposed to do.
I understand.
It's going to tell you to notify highway superintendent, planning board,
Yep.
give us a written document on what you're going to do, when you're going to do it. It's all in there.
Okay,
So this is a situation kind of where you have 3 people involved, and who's going to do the road? They're all going to wait each other out?
well,
That's not our problem.
well,
Yeah.
That's-
No, I know.
Unfortunately, we have another one on
But
Sandy
he'd
Hill.
have to, yeah, I know, that's what's going to come next, but, so that's the position Mr. Ferroni's in, where, in other words, are you here saying you're willing to complete the road to get your lots?
I'm willing to complete the road that Mr. Carney had approved from where, you must have approved a piece for, I know Bob Long put in a piece. Is that the Harris piece?
Yes.
Yeah. so-
Harris bought, Long-Bill Homes bought from Harris,
Okay.
Global Construction.
So he had done some work in front of, to
But
get.
they're not, and I don't even think that they're done.
They're not done, no.
Right, so-
But I don't want to be responsible for finishing what he had done.
Correct.
As long as we're okay with that, then I'm fine with the, because,
If Bob gave them the section that we're talking that's unfinished from Global Construction,
yes,
is there a house being built there now?
it's up and lived in, yes.
Well, there was two houses. Both houses are up and lived in?
Just one. I didn't know
Yeah,
there was
because that was
another
the
one.
first, that was the first one. They have to finish the end of the road. The road was supposed to go down, I believe, 150 feet past their property line, and they had to do a turnaround.
They did, yes.
Okay, that's done.
It is.
That's finished. That's all that we approved.
Is that the top coat, everything, that's 100% done?
I don't know.
What I think would help
I don't know that.
is if we had a plan to look at, so we know what the hell we're talking about.
Well, there's two, and unfortunately, there's going to be two
Yeah.
plans. You're going to have
Right.
You're going to have the extension of Pine Street, which is one, and then you're going to have the other section, which was with Connie.
Yes.
Get down the middle, we can all gather around him.
This doesn't, it shows the piece that was the town piece, but it doesn't really show, I know it's since subdivided.
Yeah, it's right here.
This is the Connie piece.
This is Connie's piece. And we have all these parking spots because Bridgewater has a park, a camp, whatever it's called. Camp
Camp Titicus.
Camp Titicus. So these people are coming down, so we made them put parking spaces here.
Where's the town line?
Town line is
Yes.
right, that's a Taunton River.
What are you
setbacks.
proposing, Mike, to do, build the
Where
road
along
for
the
Connie?
street is the town line?
I was under the assumption that's what I was gonna have to do. So that's what I planned on doing, was putting that road in from where Bob Long had stopped and finishing it to the
Not sure,
cul-de-sac
Bert.
with the parking area.
So you'd be doing that in concert with Connie?
Yes, yeah, he's my partner.
Well, I'd suggest that he gets this plan recorded.
Sure.
And
But I need to come back to get it re-signed.
It's past the
it's
6
past
months,
6
so yes.
months.
It says Town of Bridgewater.
Yeah, but that's the back piece.
No, it's February
Comes across.
2017, so it's well past 6 months.
And Connie's piece was up here. This had to get done so he could get to his piece.
Where's the
I'm not sure where the town line
Harris,
is.
Harris slash?
Oh, Harris is over
Longville?
here. This is another extension.
is-
Harris is,
Right here. This is here and goes up.
yeah. Oh,
And
there's
this
the
has
plan.
since been Form A, and lots have been subdivided,
Correct,
In which town?
in Rainham,
right here.
On that side?
on here. The piece that Rainham auctioned
So
off.
that's-
We can,
oh,
we
okay.
can subdivide land without being on the,
I think what the point was, one, this isn't recorded, so it's not effective unless this and the certificate of action get recorded. Then it gets recorded, then you'd come back and ask if you could do building permits but no occupancy permits till the road's built. Me, usually you get a subdivision road to binder before you start releasing lots in effect. So I think that may be the way we may go.
Sure.
And so you'd have to bring it to binder to get, I mean, you're not gonna build 150 feet of road, 150 feet of road, you're gonna do the whole thing.
Yeah, I had planned on, before, I don't know where I got the information, but I had planned on just extending it enough so I could get, I have one house up, one building permit, lot 2. So that is up, and they issued the building permit for. That house is up. I was going to extend it 150 feet just for now to get another one going, to help pay for the road, but if that's not what,
That's possible, but I'd suggest bringing this plan back in, getting it re-signed,
okay,
getting it recorded. There's step one.
Yep.
And then once that's signed and recorded, then you come back and request your 150 feet, which is, I think, what Bob was describing. I don't know if he was aware that these things aren't recorded.
I told him they were.
he
we need the other plan to be recorded too?
Yeah, I mean, they both have to be recorded. The one before.
And he doesn't, there's one he doesn't even have control over, so.
Well, Harris, is he done to the point of where Connie begins?
He is.
It's, you know, I don't know what they've stipulated in that, on that part of the road. He has binder down, it doesn't look to be topped to me.
Yeah, it's up, we'll have to ask, one, we're gonna have to ask Global Construction to come back in front of us to have that plan, re-signed.
With Global's
Global
built?
Construction, Global's.
Okay.
Wait,
Form
where-
A.
His,
Form A.
well, he had a Form A, but the Form A was part of the road extension.
And he never recorded the plan.
And
Okay.
it wasn't recorded, so
All right, I'll get hold of him.
you're gonna tell Mr. Connie that he has to come back to have his plans re-signed.
Yes.
Okay. And then that's the two. And then once we have them signed and they get recorded at the registry, then we'll find out what Global's gonna do to finish, and in the meantime, Bob will let us know that, okay, you know, that first one, they shouldn't have gotten an occupancy permit. I know they were doing work out there, and it was subject to them finishing, so I'm assuming that that section's done. Bob wouldn't have given them an occupancy permit. You know, so they didn't have to do drainage, all they were gonna do was a swale on both sides of the road.
Yes.
So, you know, it may be completed, it's just, they
Yeah,
have,
I don't know.
they have to,
It
they have
was-
to do some, we don't have any as-bills on it, and we don't have anything recorded. So, we'll
No,
get that information.
And again, I mean, you shouldn't be handcuffed by them, but still you have to get all your stuff recorded so we have something to hold you to.
Yeah,
Before anything can-
I'm absolutely fine with that, Chris. Just as long as we don't, you know, like, with the Harris piece, as long as I don't have to be, you know, waiting for them to get done whatever they have to do. I'm fine with that. I
Well,
don't-
unfortunately, you can't, you know, you can't jump over that piece. So if it's not done and it needs to be finished, then you will have to wait for them to finish. Because if it's recorded and we approved it and it's not put in, no building permits will be issued.
Why don't we invite Mr. Harris in for the 6th?
Okay.
And hopefully by then you can get everything recorded. Then you can also come back the 6th.
The 6th, sure, and I'll bring Mr. Carney with me, and
Yeah.
with the plan, well, you have to sign it, and then we'll record it after that. That's fine.
You know, all he does is put an additional planning board sign-off block
Sure,
on
that's
it.
fine.
We
Yep.
sign it, gets
Yep.
recorded. But I suggest we invite Mr. Harris in the 6th, and also might come back the 6th
Okay.
with the plan.
He has to finish. Global has to finish its section.
I think
So,
he should come back in
one
for
way-
signature the 6th as well.
One way or another, you know, like I said, there's, Bob never would have given him an occupancy permit if it's not, if, whatever that house that he gave an occupancy permit, it's gotta be finished in front of that. I thought there was another house past there, so if there's not, then it may all be done, and the only thing
It
that
may all
needs to
be done, yeah.
then the only thing that needs to be, might need to be done is recorded, and we get an as-built plan, and then you can continue doing what you gotta do.
Okay. All right. So I will see you I'm back on the 6th?
You wanna give him its time, so he's, or you wanna
We
just?
have nothing scheduled then, so we'll take, you know, the public hearing is scheduled for later. He'll probably be back on the 6th, so we'll take him early.
Yeah, Put him right on for
Why don't we put you right on 6 o'clock? And see if
6
you
at 6.
see if you get Mr. Harrison at that time as well.
Maureen, did you get that?
I did.
Sure.
Okay, thank you for your time.
Okay.
Okay. It is exactly 6:30. The next public hearing is 1,000 New State Highway site plan that was continued. And again, we're gonna follow the same procedure. There was a lot of issues last time. The big things were noise and pollution, I think. We had received a noise study from the applicant's specialist. We had decided to get that reviewed, and we ended up getting a price from a company to review it, which would encompass just reviewing the study. We are waiting for a price we were hoping to get today to have them do an independent study. We have yet to receive that. And so there's some outstanding issues, which were a lot of minor things. But again, we can't really act till we get some outside review. We're not noise specialists, we're not pollution specialists. So we rely on other people. Our consultant engineer doesn't have people in their firm to address those issues. And I apologize to the applicant that we don't have a response, but apparently the company that we get referred to is very busy and haven't been able to put together a proposal. Because we wanted to both have them look at the noise report and see if their methodology and their calculations were correct, and also consider doing an independent one. I mean, the issue kind of I had with the noise study, and I don't know what this consultant's going to do, but when they first did a base datum for that, they took sounds near the back of the residential properties. And now this is a new site plan, and it would have came in with the woods that were there, everything before it was cleared. And so you'd have your level that would go up from that point, as if it was a new site plan. But they waited till it's all cleared, and now probably has a lot more noise than it would have in its original state. So you're starting at a whole different datum, which to me, I know, could almost invalidate the study. Because now you just blew the place wide open, you have all the 44 noise where you didn't have, but we'll have to see what our private consultant comes up with. But we're working on that, we haven't got anything done on that.
We gave them quite a bit of stuff to go back and to
Yeah.
check out, so I think.
So I think we'd let them address,
What I was going
What
to suggest
review
tonight
was
is
made?
to just, we have,
Just state
just
your
to
name
stop
for the
for a
record.
second.
yeah, Ed Brennan, I'm an attorney with an office at 1 Church Green in Taunton, representing the applicant. I was going to suggest that, and a lot of information exchanged hands at the last meeting, and I think what we can accomplish tonight, which isn't going to take that long, is just to address some of the issues, mostly operational, about what the operation is in Shrewsbury and what the proposal is for 44, and get some of that information exchanged about the site and what the proposal actually is. I agree that the sound and the environmental issues are certainly way beyond me. I don't think there's any experts in the room, so we have to let the scientists take care of that. And when Epsilon submits its report on behalf of the town, then we'll all have access to that, and our experts will have access to it, and we'll see how it all shakes out. But that, at this point, I don't see any merit to going back and forth about what the noise levels might be, or what the effect of the diesel fumes could be, or because that's the area of expertise that we don't have. So I would say we defer that until you get your report back from Epsilon.
And plus, the only problem I have is they're only gonna review the study that your expert supplied. And Bob was questioning, is that what we want? And I don't think that's what, they were gonna review. But also, just them reviewing it is basically going to say, yeah, their numbers are right, according to how they got to their numbers.
Well, that's
And
why
like-
we're waiting for a price
It's
on
just
that.
going to show that they did the study.
Do their own
That's all
study.
it's going to show.
So, and
Well,
like,
maybe they'll fault the methodology that our guys use, and maybe they won't.
Could be. Well, I'm concerned with the raw data that they start with.
exactly. I mean, whatever you put into it is what you're going to, those are the numbers that they're going to check. And I saw an email that Bob had, and I think Bob sent it out to us, and it was from them. And they were basically asking for a planning board to exactly tell them what they want, because he made it sound like, all I am going to do is review the report that was given to me.
Yeah, they're just going to check the math.
Yeah,
So-
that's basically why we suggested that they see get a number on what it would be for them to do their own independent study and go from there. We don't have a number for that.
So what you're saying is,
So-
if they accept our guy's baseline, they'll review it,
Well,
and you
we were gonna
question the baseline.
Well, we'd have them come in totally independent regardless of what your guy did. And
Definitely.
we're waiting for a number on that to see how they'd approach that, as if it was them hired to do the study. We didn't get a proposal for that, and so really, it's not really up for a lot of discussion right now, and I agree with you on that. Same with the pollution and whatnot. I mean, there is a few correspondence we got that I could read into the record. Some are kind of lengthy, but the health agent, we have a new health agent, and he had some things. And again, we're going to have Ed say his piece. The planning board, several members have questions that they'd like to ask. And then after that, it would turn to the audience, and to the public. But we had a letter from the health agent, Matthew Tanis is the new Rainham health agent, and he had 6 points. And he said it's understood based on the data provided that the proposed sound decibel increase are within DEP limits. That doesn't necessarily mean they are, it just means that based on the data that was provided, they are. It is also understood that extending idling for repairs is allowed under DEP EPA regulations, and that back hour alarms are exempt from OSHA. Then he put the comparisons used are that of a business not open 24 hours, and therefore it would be assumed that noise would be minimal and only that of deliveries. In other words, he's saying the noise study was based on a business that's open during business hours, not at night. So that could be an issue, and it could be something faulty. It would be best to have more data from Lowe's and compare auto dealerships as to the amount of overnight usage. The idling for regen purposes as a repair is also a question, and would like clarification from DEP on this matter. Regen is more related to normal operation of the vehicle and not that of a repair. E, after reviewing the noise study and related impacts based on decibel levels, I would suggest that if operations were to be 24 hours, that night work be limited to the west side of the building. And then F, he had other useful information would be the decibel levels of ventilation equipment used within the repair bays for exhaust removal. And then he had a couple issues on, just basically saying it's served by town water and sewer, and catch basins and infiltration basins should have periodic inspection. There was also a correspondence that's rather lengthy from Gene Carter of Deer Hollow Trail. And I think I'll read it in. Dear members of the Planning Board, I am writing to you as I am not able to attend a Planning Board meeting regarding the trucking company that wants to build a dealership and repair service on Route 44 next to Wendy's. My family and I are strongly opposed to this project as we feel it would be very detrimental to the area. Although we are not a direct abutter to this project, we do live very nearby, and I know that my family and I would have adverse effects from the issues associated with such as noise pollution, air quality pollution, as well as health concerns related to such a project. As it stands now, we can already hear vehicles driving on Route 24, as well as Route 44 24 hours a day, every day of the year, which I know when I bought this home. However, if this proposed project is allowed to move forward, it will increase the noise level to beyond what is tolerable in a residential neighborhood for many of us living in the surrounding area. I feel that I would not be able to enjoy opening my house windows as the noise and smell would be intolerable despite whatever test samples are found to be unacceptable governmental guidelines. And it goes on, basically about the berm, the diesel fumes, the 24-hour operation, and just basically that she feels it's going to be a complete nuisance to the neighborhood and does not fit in so closely to a residential area. But again, that's a letter from Gene Carter, dated August 14th, 2018, and Maureen has that in the file, as well as the health agent letter. If you have anything to add, Ed,
I
add
would
it,
just say,
otherwise send it to the
When it
board.
comes to letters like that, let's deal with facts.
Yeah.
She's saying it's going to do all these things. Well, we have experts that are evaluating this for both the town and for my client. Let's listen to what they have to say, and let's try to deal with facts and not the fear of the unknown. I get that, I understand it. The fear of the unknown is present with every project. But I think we have to try to deal with as many facts as we can and not just subjective, what might happen or what they think could happen. We got to try to pin this down to real data. And I think we can do that.
Is your guy here tonight?
Which one?
The real data guy, the guy with all the
report.
No, because we don't have Epsilon yet, so we didn't bring the sound and environmental guy back tonight because we have Epsilon report wasn't available to review, so.
Well, I would just suggest that you bring him back because I don't think that first meeting was enough to.
Oh, he'll be back. We just want to come back when we have the town's position from its expert.
Because maybe you can ask him this question. Can I, you want,
I'll turn it over. I know Burke has a lot of things.
I just have one.
Dan, we'll turn it over to Dan first, then I'll go to Burke, then John and Russ.
This was from Massachusetts Department of Environmental Protection, and I went through a lot of it last time. But the one thing that I found, it says, how do fine particles pose a health problem? Blue clouds of smoke and black soot are the most noticeable forms of exhaust from buses, trucks, and other heavy-duty vehicles. But it is the diesel pollution we can't see or smell that poses the greatest risk to our health. Exhaust from buses and other diesel-powered vehicles contain particle matters, including fine particles that can penetrate deep into the lungs and even enter the bloodstream, posing serious health problems for children and elderly and people with respiratory ailments. Fine particles can cause lung damage, aggravated respiratory problems, conditions such as asthma, bronchial, increased heart disease, lead to cancer, and can contribute to premature death. I just wanted to ask him about, when we do the study, we're doing studies on numbers, but how do we take that into account?
But then I think DEP sets a standard. They set a measuring stick that if you meet it, you're supposed to be okay.
Well, I think our Board of Health is stating already that you're not meeting the standard.
I didn't read it that way, but
Yeah, all right,
as
well.
I suggested when I started, I think the noise and the environmental, we got to get the input from both sides of the experts on that. Because that's, for me to comment on the particles on the diesel exhaust is, probably irresponsible. So I think if we
I just wanted to read it into record so we
get
have.
away from the science for tonight and talk a little bit maybe about the operations that we're proposing, comparing it to Shrewsbury.
Yeah, maybe this is something that shouldn't be a 24-hour operation. Maybe it's something that should be, does not belong in that neighborhood as a 24-hour operation. And that's kind of what the health agent said. The study that they used was based on a daytime operation, didn't take nighttime into consideration. And, Dan's reference to the barking dog last meeting is you're going to have a barking dog all night. You're going to have Jake breaks, you're going to have different things happening. It's not, it's going to be, I think it's going to be a lot of
Well, you may or may
uncomfortable
not
noises.
have a barking dog. That's why Epsilon's going to review it for you guys. So
You
that they
think a
can-
bunch of guys that are mechanics, though, and truck drivers are gonna say, wait, we're not supposed to idle, hey, wait, they're not gonna do that.
But this
I mean,
is
they're not gonna
this
do
is not
what
a,
some
this isn't
guideline
a
says.
rinky-dink operation.
It's not right to shoot cops, but they
It's
keep
a
doing it.
high-end
I mean, it's
dealership.
not-
When people come in there, that's one of the questions that was presented that we have the information for. I mean, the average age on the trucks that they've serviced in Shrewsbury in the last year was a 2013. And 85% of them were newer than 2010, which has the new pollution standards on the diesels.
I know, and
So-
again, it was pointed out that the truck dealership issue, if it's being sold as a truck dealership, that's like a car dealership with all cars that are sitting there to be sold, not 90% of the cars that are sitting there to be maintained. There's a big difference
Well,
between a dealership and a maintenance garage. And
But
this
it's not,
more appears to
if you're a
people.
new dealership, you have to offer warranty work for the truck, so you can't get the franchise. Freightliner won't give you a dealership if you don't offer warranty maintenance. So that's
Freightliner that
part of
sells
it.
Staples trucks.
But what's interesting about the, and this is one of the issues that I was prepared to talk about tonight, and that is on the, the projected sales based on Shrewsbury for this site as a new dealership would be $13.4 million in sales of new trucks, it would be $6.5 million in sales of parts. A big part of this business is they provide parts to other repair facilities. So they have a warehouse here with a fleet of trucks. And $2.6 million on service and warranty. So out of $22.5 million, only $2.6 is service and warranty. But they have to have it, or they don't get a Freightliner Western Star dealership. But that's a necessary part of this operation, but that's not the main thrust of the operation. They sold 350 trucks last year, and I think about 100 of them came down from southeastern Mass, so there's a good market down here. There's 30 brand-new trucks on the site in Shrewsbury now, waiting to be prepped up and customized for the customers. So a small part of the operation is maintenance and repair. A large part is parts, and then, of course, the sales of the new trucks. As you all know, these trucks are very expensive. So it's actually 11%, $2.6 million.
Curious to see how many new trucks are there versus how many trucks are there. You know, like if there's,
I think he's
There's
got-
30, as of the other day, there were 30 new trucks in Shrewsbury, so I don't know.
but how many trucks are there on the site? In other words, is
It varies.
that 10% of the trucks, or is
It
that?
depends on, I mean, they've suggested parking, for trucks for up to 114 trucks. Now, that's not all new big tractor trailers. That could be a box truck or a smaller truck.
That's the packet here or the Shrewsbury?
No, they're proposing here. What they're proposing here on the 233 spaces, Shrewsbury has 325 spaces.
So out of 325, they have 30 trucks that are for sale and 270 that are
Yeah, but every
repaired.
space isn't filled. That's presuming every space at Shrewsbury is filled with something. And it's not. I say 30 new trucks, just so you have an idea of the magnitude of new trucks that go through one of these dealerships. Now, the other point that was discussed a couple of weeks ago was the size of the operation. And there was something in there that, like, Rainham's going to be twice the size of Shrewsbury, which I'm just trying to get as many facts to the board as we can. In Rainham, the proposal is a total of 30,500 square feet. That's the total building. The repair facility is 14 and change, say about half. The office is 7,600. The warehouse is 6,200, and the retail space is 1,900. In Shrewsbury, the repair is 10,000 square feet. The office is 6,000 square feet. The warehouse is 29,000 square feet, and the retail is 6,000 square feet. So Shrewsbury has when you compare apples to apples, Shrewsbury also has some other stuff that we're not proposing in Rainham. So when you compare apples to apples, you're talking about a 30,500 square feet in Rainham, and those uses in Shrewsbury are 51,000 square feet. So Shrewsbury is much larger than what we're proposing in Rainham. Now, those are the facts. I don't know where double the size. It must be, if someone looked at gross floor area of what's in Shrewsbury, because they rent out a bunch of the building in Shrewsbury. But what's done in Shrewsbury that will be done in Rainham, Rainham's, 19,000 feet smaller than what is at Shrewsbury. So that's the fact of what we're proposing in Rainham size-wise.
Yeah, my only point out of that was when 10% of the trucks are there for sale and 90% are there for repair. And so it's kind of coming to us as a new truck dealership when it isn't really a
Well,
dealership.
it is a new truck dealership.
Well, it is, but I mean, 10% is new
You have
trucks.
trucks out front, just like a
90%.
car dealership has. They've got 30 out in the
But the
back.
car
now, they have
dealership
truck
doesn't have
customers.
90% of the vehicles for repair that make a lot of noise in the diesel. But beyond that, I'm going to pass it over to, I know Burke has a lot of things, and I think Dan might still have other things, so I'm going to pass it over to Burke Fountain and see what he has for concerns.
I think the questions are really directed at the manager, owner, and who would that be?
Mr. Steve Georgalis is here tonight.
Okay.
And he is he's the representative of the owner here tonight, who can
Okay.
answer questions on operations.
All right, let me ask him a lot of questions then.
Steve?
Hi there.
State your name for the record, just so.
Sure, Steve Georgalis, I'm the Chief Strategy Officer at Tri-State Truck Center in Shrewsbury. I'm a CPA also, so.
When did Tri-State open? Approximately, and I'm not holding you to a year, but approximately.
Tri-State is, it's in its fourth location now. It started as a two-bay repair shop before it was a licensed Freightliner dealer in Ashland. And I'm going to say approximately 1981, 1982.
And when did you move to the location you're at now?
We moved from Southborough to Shrewsbury approximately 10 years ago.
And you sell Freightliners, Western Stars, and Autocar.
We're an Autocar representative. Autocar trucks are sold directly. We're authorized to, they don't have facilities for warranty work, so we provide the warranty work, and we receive their delivery of the new trucks for the customers, and we provide the warranty work and parts.
And per year, how many Freightliners do you sell? New?
You know, between, let's say, 300 and 400.
And Western?
Between 3 and 400?
Excuse me?
Between 3 and 400?
Yes, that's what we would, project. I mean, this year, we probably would sell more than that. There are some supply issues going on right now.
Western Star?
Oh, I'm sorry, that's
it,
combined, Western Star and
everything?
Freightliner. Western Star and Freightliner are both owned by Daimler,
Okay,
so it's kind of like, having a GMC and a Chevy. It's the same
Yeah.
company.
okay.
But there are where GMC is, let's say, is a heavier truck, Western Star is Daimler's heavier version. It's more vocational.
And to explain to me again how Autocar works?
How, excuse me?
Autocar?
Autocar is, in most cases, it's used for the people in the trash and container business. We do very little with Autocar. Actually, we're going to sever our relationship with them because they're not good people really to work with as far as that. We provide warranty work for them. We've been having trouble with their craftsmanship, so the warranty has been coming back to us, and we tell them that this is a warranty claim, and they're saying no, so it's not business advantageous for us to continue that relationship. We also represent Thomas Built Bus, where we sell for parts, Allison Transmission, where we sell parts also.
How many used trucks do you sell a year?
0. We don't sell any used trucks. There is Daimler's used truck division is called Select Truck. That's who rents on our facility. So they use a number of acres of our facility plus a couple of bays in the back building. And so we do not sell any used trucks.
So how many used trucks do they sell in a year? In other words, how many used trucks are getting sold off of your property?
I have no knowledge of that number.
10,
It's a
100, 1,000? Give me a guess.
I really can't, I really have no idea.
Well, how many used trucks are sitting there for sale on the lot?
I would have to say probably sitting there on the lot is probably 100 to 150.
Do you sell anything other than trucks and parts for trucks?
As an example, there are, in our retail end, we sell different things like chromes, we sell seats, we sell,
Yeah, those count as parts.
excuse me?
Those count as
Yes,
parts.
it's within our retail parts showroom.
Are you going to have anything for truckers, a place to sleep or shower or anything?
To sleep?
Yeah.
No. Very few of our business is what we call transitory. We provide road service, throughout 4 states. We have a number of, and we also provide warranty, on-site warranty work. So if there's, let's say, somebody breaks down on 24, I guess down by, would that be towards Fall River? I'm not, they would call, we can, come down and get them on the road. We have a very extensive road service business, and we also provide mobile inspection. Also, we provide inspection within we're certified, obviously, for the state. We also handle all the state snow plowing, equipment, which we, obviously is new equipment that we sell for them, and we provide warranty work for that also.
So how many vehicles all kinds of vehicles are on the premises in a typical day?
For our operation or for?
If I was to go to Shrewsbury and
Okay.
count vehicles, how many am I
Right,
likely
if
to
you come to
find?
Shrewsbury now, you will find our operation, you would find a Select Trucks operation. There's also a truck leasing operation, which does also long-term leasing and short-term rentals on our operation. We also have in that back building, we have a substantial warehouse, approximately 30,000 feet of warehouse. There's also an engine shop. There's also an alignment shop. And there's also, that's where we also have our training, and our tech school is also on the facility. So that's what you would find in that.
Okay, and how many vehicles would be parked outside in the parking lot?
Counting Select and
yeah.
I think we have 300 spaces, something like that. I mean,
It's
I would say right, when I left there this afternoon, other than Select, I would say for, Select is usually has a pretty good inventory. So if let's say back 100, we have a big delivery, which just came in, so there's 40 new trucks. I would have to say maybe in total for our operation, it's tough to tell because
If I was to
I don't know
just
which
go out
ones
to
are
the
there for.
parking lot and count trucks, about how many would I count?
It depends on, today, if you came today, 200.
200, okay. How many of them are sitting there waiting to be repaired?
Today, I have no idea. I can't,
Typical day.
I'd have to get back to you on that. I don't know. I'm not in the operations.
How many repairs do you do a day?
I'd have to, again, I don't know that. I would
Okay.
have to get back to you on that.
How many bays are there for repair?
We have, I believe, 14 or 15. That includes express, which we would have here also, express assessment. There are certain things that Daimler has, which we would have also. And that includes the wash bay. We have prep areas for the new vehicles. And also, we provide state inspection also.
About how many trucks get serviced per week?
I would have to get back to you on that. I'm not in, operations.
How many trucks get towed in from highways and roads per week?
Very few, most of the items that, if somebody has a breakdown on the road, we service them on at site. That's why, like I said, we have an extensive, we service Stop and Shop down on 24. So they don't, if there's a breakdown, again, depending on where they are, we go out there, they call us, we go out there, we have our call center that we go out and we do the road service.
So you have, so Stop and Shop, and I've never been to their warehouse, but they have 30, 40, 50 trucks,
Oh, they probably have an excess of 200.
200 trucks. And you do their repair work?
Well, we sell them a lot of parts. They have their own.
They have their own
facility
mechanics, but
there,
you
yeah.
sell them
We
the
sell
parts?
them trucks.
Okay.
And parts.
Okay.
And if they're, the trucks, obviously, they're not exclusively to one brand. So, like I say, so I can't tell you what their breakdown is, I don't know, but
Yeah.
obviously, we sell them trucks, and then we provide warranty service, and also if need be, we can do breakdown service. I don't think they have breakdown service for their own vehicles,
Okay. Do you only work on diesel trucks
as opposed to,
as opposed to gasoline engine trucks?
I would assume that, I don't know, I'm not a
In other words,
technician.
you're working on big trucks? You're not working on smaller trucks that would be gas-powered?
I would say, I don't know. I was assumed I'm sure there's got to be some that are not diesel. I don't know, I'm not a technician, but I would think that if I have my, little, what we call an M2, like, let's say a 14 or 16-foot box truck, which is not registered for, over, I think it's 33,000 feet, 33,000 pounds. I think it could be gas, I don't know.
Okay. I see school buses in Shrewsbury.
Mhm.
Um,
We do work for the state, and like I say, we provide parts for Thomas Built.
And as your ad talks about refuse trucks,
Say that again? I'm sorry.
refuse trucks, garbage trucks,
Mhm.
trash trucks.
Well, again, depending on what make they are, we do provide warranty work for them.
It's actually just a sidebar on that.
Yeah.
I was working in Braintree today, and we're putting in water mains, and we said, wow, there's a skunk around here. And it smelled like a skunk. And so I kept smelling it, and then I had to go to a couple other roads that were doing water mains, and I circled the entire neighborhood, and the whole place smelled like a skunk. And it was because they were picking up the trash.
Yep.
And if you had a bunch of trash trucks, you'd have a bunch of skunks.
So you do a lot of parts deliveries.
Yes, sir.
How many delivery trucks do you have approximately?
We have approximately 20. They're mostly vans.
Yep.
Like the big Ford. I can't, I don't know the name of the,
Okay.
Box
That's
trucks,
all right.
like six
not the,
wheels.
it's, no, not like, they make the new one, Transit, thank you. Transits.
The skinny ones.
Right, well,
Okay, I know what you mean.
they'll fit a pallet in, I believe.
Your parts department, what percentage of customers come in to pick up parts, and what percentage do your trucks deliver parts?
I can't tell you because what we call our outside part sales, or OPS, that gets recorded because it's filled through the warehouse, so our outside part sales and our parts counter sales are combined in one number, so that number I wouldn't be able to distinguish.
Do you own tow trucks?
No.
Okay. If you were to move to Rainham, how many vehicles would you be registering in Rainham? As principal garage place that we're going to collect taxes on?
Our parts van, our parts transits.
So the operation in Shrewsbury versus Rainham, how are they going to be the same? How are they going to be different?
Well, the main thing is that in Shrewsbury is our hub. All our, 99% of our administrative being accounting, finance, receivables, payables, time recording, everything else will be done here. In Shrewsbury, we have an alignment shop, we have an engine shop, we have the big warehouse, we have the tech school. Those will not be duplicated in Rainham. If you looked at, if you looked at the aerial, you'll see there are two buildings. The building in the back is the one that has our engine shop, has our alignment shop, has the tech school, has the warehouse. We lease space there to Select. We lease space there to Advantage Truck Leasing. That's the,
How many technicians do you employ in Shrewsbury, and how many would you employ in Rainham?
We run, of course, 3 shifts. Now, we have, when we provide road service, those are technicians. Do you want to know how many technicians we actually have on site, or do you count the ones that are actually on the road doing the breakdown work?
Well, do you have technicians who are just driving around waiting for somebody to break down, or are they working at the shop and they get the call and they hop in a van and go out?
No, it's, they're not working in the shop. Like I say, there are, if they're not responding, let's just say, to a breakdown, we also provide on-site warranty, so all our service vehicles are equipped with everything that they would need before that. We do also do mobile inspections. We also do what we call P&Ls, preventive maintenance. So they'll be, as an example, they would go to, XYZ to do 5 maintenance cycles. And then, if there's a breakdown on, I want to go close to here, let's say somewhere on the Mass Pike, then they would respond to them. But in-house, we have, I believe, 24 techs on site.
Okay, you have about the same in Rainham?
That's in 3 shifts, sir.
Okay, so about 8 per shift?
No, actually, most of the shifts are on what we call the first 2.
Yep.
There's only 3 on the overnight shift.
Okay.
And in Rainham, I've done the projections. We projected in the first year that we would have 7 techs, and that, again, would be for 3 shifts. Obviously, mostly during the day, we don't know exactly how that's going to go, but as an example, we would, let's say we'd have 4 techs on the first shift, 2 techs on the second shift, and then 1 tech on the overnight.
And you're going to have 21 bays instead of 14 bays.
Mhm.
So you expect
Well,
to
that's
have...
14 bays in the main facility. We have, many more bays in that back facility, which, again, is for our engine shop and the like. The
Okay,
alignment and also to handle any overflow if there is.
okay. Those are all my questions for him.
You mentioned other operations that are happening on the site, Select Truck being one they use. Do you plan on doing the same outside operations at this location?
None of them, sir.
None of them at all?
No, we're not going to have an engine
So there-
shop here. We're not
So
going
there
to
won't be
have...
any used trucks for sale on this site?
What we'd like to do here is that this market is more vocational than fleets. So we would like to be able to, which we do, we take in trade. That's why, like I say in our application, I don't want to say, as far as all or nothing, it's not a major part of our business, but I just want to say that if let's say we take one and we know that, let's say Gilly Lopes is looking for a used, and I don't know the model numbers or anything like that, or a dump truck or something like that, and meets his yardage or whatever, and we know that Mr. XYZ is, trading it in for that, we need the ability to sell out of there. We're just contractually, we don't sell in Shrewsbury. Used truck business is not a good
So
business.
Select
It's not
Select won't be
profitable.
represented at this site?
Oh, no, absolutely not, no.
That's all I have.
Are you going to work on other things like front-end loaders and bulldozers?
No, the front-end loaded, that's what we use for, we obviously have a large facility, we use it for snow removal,
Yeah,
so we own our own snow removing equipment.
but you wouldn't have customers come in with that type of equipment for repairs?
No.
Okay.
We don't work on heavy equipment.
All right.
We work on our
Not
own.
even your own?
Excuse me?
Not even your own?
No, I'm sure they do on our own. It would.
Okay, thank you.
Question.
Yes.
You were saying that on the shifts, that you might have like 4 technicians working the first shift or something, but there's 21 bays?
Yeah, that was my thought.
So what kind of work is being done in all the other bays, or are those?
Again, it could be prep work, it could be express assessment, it could be, you, again, I'm not the complete, I'm operations, I just have been with the owner for 20 years, so, as a CPA, so. There's a certain, how do I say that, each one of it's not that there's one tech assigned to each bay. There could be different things, like, as an example, we receive a large order for Coca-Cola vehicles. So we have them, so we're prepping them, okay? And then, some things are missing, like we're missing the decals, or one of the other decals came in defective, or, it came in, because unlike cars, trucks are not delivered on car carriers. We don't unload in the street. They come either 2, 3, or possibly, depending on the number of axles, they come all together. Actually, I think Ed has I sent him a picture of it. And they only come during the day. We don't get deliveries at night. So they have to be prepped. So, you'll have the one vehicle in there, and let's say it's missing something. So they'll move to the next one, and that's kind of like, in waiting. It's not that they're, again, you need separate, certain things for the state, like you need separate ones for inspection, so it's not like we're doing, the inspections are lined up. There's nothing what Daimler has, which is called express assessment, to, assess the warranty issues or whatever. I mean, we have one bay in Shrewsbury for that, but it's better to have a direct through, so we have, we're 3 deep, so we have 3, it's 3 through. It's not like every bay is used at each time. Some of them have different functions.
But there's 21 bays proposed in Rainham?
I think it's 21
You're
people.
gonna
I think
have
it
just
actually is.
one guy working on it? It just doesn't make sense.
Excuse
How
me?
many employees are you gonna have at night? Just one, you said?
Excuse me?
You're just gonna have one technician at night, 21 bays?
No,
Midnight shift in Shrewsbury.
no, I think you're saying Rainham.
No, what I'm saying, you get 21 bays proposed.
Yes.
So you get trucks in 21 bays, and you have one guy working on them.
At night, at night, you're not gonna have that kind of activity to have 21 bays full. You're gonna have, most of your activities during the day.
And why do you need to be open 24 hours?
Excuse me?
Why do you need to be open 24 hours then?
Daimler requirement.
Huh?
Daimler requirement.
Who's Daimler?
Excuse me?
They're not like,
It's the manufacturer.
Yeah, Freightliner is owned by Daimler.
but I mean, I don't think they're making the rules, I don't think they're making the rules in Rainham. Last I looked.
Daimler, Daimler. like
That's Daimler
Mercedes.
Chrysler. It's Chrysler.
M as in Mary.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what I assume he's referring to.
Excuse me?
Daimler Chrysler.
Well, it's not Chrysler anymore. But-
So if it was,
Right,
It is the Daimler.
Daimler- Mercedes is
Same
Daimler?
Daimler, though.
if it was
Yes.
conditioned that you couldn't be
Mercedes
open
is right.
24 hours, then they wouldn't allow it.
I'm sorry?
If it was conditioned that you couldn't be open 24 hours, then Daimler would not allow it then.
Correct.
Okay.
Could we have the list of their requirements, please?
I don't have it out with.
Other couple of questions.
Okay, John, you all set?
I'm all set.
Okay,
I-
Dan?
Can I just, I'm sorry. I can, what the easiest thing is I have our commitment letter from Daimler specifically to this address, to this. Every location has to, just like with any franchisor, it has to be approved. So we submitted our application to them for our Freightliner and Western Star at this address for this facility and everything else. I can give you that commitment letter, which has those particular pieces I think you're looking for. Yeah, it'll say that, that it's an approved facility if you give those other items.
Question I have, now, you had said that you have 4 other locations?
We're merging with another dealership, McDevitt Truck, out of New Hampshire. And so we're going to be managing there's one facility in Westfield, there's
All right,
Westminster.
without getting into a lot of, I don't
sorry.
need all that data. What, are we looking at, we're looking at Shrewsbury for comparison, because that's
Yeah.
all we have.
Correct.
So where are the other three locations?
Uh,
Is there, we're saying that Shrewsbury has 300 parking spots, ours is only gonna have, you're asking for 225. The number of employees seems to be different. We don't have a transmission shop or a motor engine shop. We don't have all these things. We don't have secondhand vehicle sales. So, this is what we're looking at. This is Shrewsbury. Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry.
This is Shrewsbury. You can take and look at the pictures. So,
Steve, I have those in the file.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
and
You can use them now if you like.
again, we're looking at this, we're trying to figure out, one, your sound guy went to Shrewsbury, and for 4 hours, I guess he got the sound of a loud exhaust, or got the sound of an overhead door, and got the sound of chirping the squirrels, or whatever, and then he put it all together, and it came out for this printout, and I guess that's how we're gonna, we have to accept that as, that's the logic behind noise. Which is the, is the hard part, because we're just trying to get to what's the difference between Shrewsbury for Rainham. 20-something bays, 10 acres of land, 225 parking spots, you're gonna sell 300 or 400 vehicles. So I guess that's, that's still
Can I
the,
make one observation? The reason most of my presentation tonight was to compare Shrewsbury with Rainham.
because we asked.
Because, otherwise.
Oh, I know.
Shrewsbury was just an address. We didn't bring Shrewsbury up.
No, we did.
Okay.
I mean, that's all we have to go on.
Okay.
I mean, we're looking at this, again, we're looking at Shrewsbury, you look at all truck places, and I guess, would you agree with me that you're quite a large repair and sales
I think.
in the area?
Provided from what we do is different than what we're going to be doing in Rainham. Actually, I think our engineer, we have some, actually they're here, comparisons between the facility which will go in Rainham versus what we have in Shrewsbury, and we've outlined to show you, with a better overhead of what part, like I say, is select, what part is for the leasing division, what part is for warehouse. I think you
So,
might get a
we
better
don't
from the
have,
overhead.
Mr. Brennan, we don't have the sound guy here. Maybe you can ask him.
Oh, so, okay.
Maybe you can ask his report that he did. What part was standing in front of the transmission shop? What part was standing in front of the motor shop? What part was standing in, the used car? I mean, there's so much that you have over there that you're not bringing over here, so how can we make that report, or how can we say that report is accurate?
Well, if you was, and you have to make an assumption, which the board may not want to do, but assume he was doing a sound test on a much more active facility. So he comes up, he's doing a sound test, and there's 70,000 square feet and all these other uses that aren't going to be in Rainham. And if he could meet the standards there, then it's not a leap to say Rainham's going to be much better than Shrewsbury, because Shrewsbury has all of these other issues which aren't going to be in Rainham. And Shrewsbury, I'll just say, passed. Now, Epsilon can weigh in on that, but just leave that to them. But it's not going to be a larger facility. We're not proposing, that's 70,000 square feet in Shrewsbury, total, 51 of which is used by my client, and we're only coming up with 30,000 square feet in Rainham. That's why I went over those numbers to start with.
Well, you have 30,000 square feet in Rainham, but your repair bays probably are equivalent to Shrewsbury.
The repair bay is 4,800 square feet larger than
In
Shrewsbury.
Rainham.
Yes.
So that's, all right, so that's that's I guess what we're looking at, is the amount of vehicles going there and being repaired. Again, if this was as presented, a new dealership, you wouldn't need all those repair bays, so.
You do need them. Yeah, absolutely.
All right, well, and again,
They're not building if they don't need them.
Your company is very well liked, it has high ratings, it's probably one of the best repair centers, and there's nothing information that we're looking for that has anything to do with improperly run company. Out of repairs and trucking, everything that I've seen, you guys are the best in what you do. Again, that's not what we're looking at. We're looking at the number of vehicles that are going to be
You can
serviced.
focus on the bays, but as Steve said, a lot of the bays, you could have one man working on, or one technician working on 2 or 3 different vehicles, and it's taking up 3 bays, but he's just going from one to the other. So that doesn't mean 21 bays filled all the time, 21 technicians. 21 bays allows them to maneuver the trucks inside, and, because all the work has to be done inside. There's nothing to be done outside. So this makes for a well-managed traffic flow on site, having the 21 bays. Now, you want to know what the differences are. Well, they don't have the school in Rainham that they have in Shrewsbury. They don't have the alignment shop in Rainham that they have in Shrewsbury. They don't have the engine rebuild facility in Rainham that they have in Shrewsbury. And they don't lease out to the the used truck dealer next door in Rainham. They're not going to do that. So a 30,000 square foot building isn't that big. I mean,
Well, with everything that you just said, though, takes up square footage on inside of a building.
That's right.
It doesn't require outside.
that's right.
You're going to bring a truck in, take the motor out.
We're not going to do that. We don't do.
I'm saying in Shrewsbury.
Oh, yeah.
You take the motor out. You might take the transmission out. You send it to the transmission shop. Noise, pollution, any of that stuff, that's all indoors, isn't it? I mean, it all has to be indoors.
Everything's going to be indoors in Rainham, yeah.
And
Okay, all right.
If I can.
Yeah, show us your,
There isn't, he's,
No, I just wanted to, look, you, to get a good look at.
Let me
Mr.
get the
Fountain's
easel.
got a question over there, Chris.
Okay.
So the camera can get it.
yeah. Let me put it up there and see if I can walk it. Looks okay. The camera? Okay, so what Steve was going to point out is, this is the entire Shrewsbury site right here.
How many acres is it?
Same, it's a little well, the entire site, not that we use, but the entire footprint that you see here is 9 acres, which is almost equivalent to exactly here.
What's outlined in yellow, here, here, and here, is what is leased rented space that
This
is leased
is,
out and is not going to be in Rainham.
this is Select Truck here. We also rent them part of the building here for where they do their recondition, cleaning and other stuff like this. Our engine shop is here. Alignment shop is here. School is here. And right down the middle is our warehouse. These here, this is employee parking. This is also parking, some of it, again, for the alignment and engine shop and whatever. These are our parts vans. This is some of them. Again, this is employee parking. And again, for the engine shop, the alignment shop for inspection, also that's where most of these are, unless they're Select trucks. I really couldn't tell how many here, so I just kind of estimated based on what we normally have. New trucks would be here, and then some of the service, stuff in for service or warranty or whatever would be there.
Okay, so we take out this, half that building, and we take out all of those parking, all the dotted line that is not part of your company. And you have 9 acres, and we probably are gonna take 3 acres off. So 9, 8, 7, 6. And we have 10 acres in Rainham, and we have less building, so that means we're gonna have more parking.
Well, actually, I think after the berm, I think it's about 8 acres or 7 point.
Rainham, what's,
The pavement is staying the same from, I know it's a new submission, but the pavement was staying the same. And we have a traffic flow chart.
Yeah, but I can't say it's staying the same. I don't know what it was. That plan was approved and done.
Well,
It's
right,
not.
all I can tell you is 800 square feet less of impervious area on this plan than what was
That's-
before. It's 800 square feet.
I don't have, yeah,
800?
I'm
Yeah,
not.
It's pretty much the same pavement that was previously approved, just for,
But-
you know,
But
to
we
keep
have
it
one,
in perspective.
but I'm looking at the parking. I mean, we have, what, 8 buildings taking up square footage if you want to bring in the old plan. We have 8 buildings taking up square footage of the old plan. So you take out 112,000 square feet that is now going to be parking.
Right.
All right, so to me, that's not a positive. That's not for
Well,
your benefit.
No, but it's.
That's a negative, in my opinion. We have,
It would be nice to scale it down to a building 30,000 square feet, but now we have tractor-trailer trucks coming in.
But our whole issue was sound and noise and pollution, and you're
Right.
filling up the parking lot with 8 acres of pollution.
You had a bunch of, you had 8 buildings with 9 to 5 operation pretty much, you know.
I don't
7
think
to
there were
5
time
pretty much.
limits on
But you take
He
all
doesn't-
those
he doesn't know 'cause
buildings
he
with
wasn't
people
involved in that.
inside.
There wasn't,
Now you're
there
bringing
wasn't
in
time limit.
A bunch of trucks that'll be outside. It's a totally different animal.
No, it's a different submission.
And just
but-
because this was all permitted, this was permitted for the 8 buildings. This had nothing to do with the trucks. It's a totally different animal. The limit of the pavement, none of that's approved.
But you need
That's
the
approved.
pavement to maneuver tractor-trailers through.
Yeah, but it's not, none of that was approved for this use. It was approved for another use. This is an entirely different site plan.
But my only
And that
point is,
was
that's
my-
why we haven't scaled it down on the pavement, is because you need it for the tractor-trailers. It
That's-
just happens to work out that way.
Yeah, that's an opinion on, but you may not need it that close to the homes. You may need, because it's a totally different use. And,
That's what, like I say, this is, here is.
Employee parking?
yeah, but
Okay, we're
that's
gonna
not,
have
that's not
here
my
for-
point. That's not my point. What I'm saying is that's where the sound study comes in a little odd, where they're basing the sound study on after the site's already been cleared. And the way I'm looking at it is, this is a completely new submission. This submission doesn't say, okay, look, we cleared all this based on this thing that got approved. Now we're gonna do something entirely different, but we want the same clearing and the same pavement. This is a completely new
But the sound study
submission that has
was-
nothing to do with what was previously approved.
The sound study was done after it was cleared. So the sound study
Yeah.
was done on existing conditions.
Well, the sound study, if this came in, it would have been a wooded site. So you're saying, okay, here's my initial decibel level is based on an already cleared condition. So you're setting your base when that wasn't
Yeah,
the
but
base.
that wasn't the base. If you go to a treed lot, go down somewhere where there's, if that whole thing was treed, do a sound study then. Start from square one. The other submission doesn't exist. Fill that place back up with trees, go to Johnson Street, do your sound study.
If I brought a sound study in with that completely treed, and then tried to offer it to the board for this use that was going to remove the trees, the board, you guys would throw me out of here.
I mean, you might have already
There's
jumped
no
up
way.
to
It has
10
to be
decibels
done.
before you
If
start.
you want to know what the existing condition is, it has to be done now, under existing
Most
conditions.
definitely, but Chris is making a point. If it came in when this was all treed, it would be different. Obviously, yeah, I know, it's like, who
can predict that?
Common sense says that, and I think that's what Chris is getting at. We're looking at 2 totally different things. Again, we wish the trees were there.
But
At the last hearing, I asked about, or I mentioned about doing trees and increasing the buffer, and I asked if you could do some numbers on it, and how much, if, your guy told us that the second floor windows on the houses that abut it were affected. All right, well, that's already too much.
All right, well, we're not saying we're not gonna address some of those issues. We just wanna have Epsilon's input, and then have our sound engineer input, and see where it takes us. I couldn't start
your
making
sound
changes
expert
now.
Should find a site similar to this, that has the residential properties of Judson Street,
Yeah, but
with about the same distance,
Yeah,
fully treed to 44,
That's not
and use
gonna
that as your base, and then start from there, because you might have, well, I'm sure you've already brought the sound. It must sound like cars are driving through their living room once they cleared this thing. I'm sure it got a little louder. And I'm sure everyone in this room can testify to that. So, you're already, here's what your base should be. You're starting here and saying, I'm only moving up 10, but I already started at 8, So to me, it makes no sense. It's
Well-
not a fair way to assess it.
We're offering it to you based on existing conditions. A year ago, when I was before you for the other use, this wasn't even imaginable, that this use could be a potential. This is opportunity developed itself, and we're bringing it to the board. And we're giving you a sound study with existing conditions. So, it's not like I'm saying that the tree, it's gonna get one sound level if the trees are there, so approve it, board, and then cut all the trees down. I mean, that's not, we're giving you real data for existing conditions.
But the point he's making is the
If
difference,
this
the
came
growth.
in- If this came in as a site plan and with existing conditions, your study would be based on what it was before it was clear cut. And that's a fair way to do the study. It's fair to the residents, saying, this is what you were hearing. It's not saying, okay, this is what you were hearing, now we're clear cutting this to do a quiet use, and now we're gonna do this other use, but we're gonna start with it already clear cut and already with all the noise from 44 that wasn't there a year ago.
The only way to resolve that is what would the other business that was already approved, what would have that generated versus what this one?
Exactly.
And then the place is cleared, and then that's how you come up with a number.
Yeah, it just
Would the
doesn't-
other place to have less of a sound impact on this piece of property versus this piece of property? The place is cleared, so we can't bring trees back. So,
No,
if you're looking at, real natural, what was gonna be there before, we even moved, like I said last time, we moved dumpsters, we even gave a special permit on letting building get closer to, I think closer or further away, no, we reduced parking on the back, so we wouldn't have any car doors, closing car doors that abuts the residential neighbors on the back piece of the property. So now all of those parking spaces that you originally had, you have them back. And that was, look at our decision. Our decision was, we're gonna allow you to have less parking spaces. We will give you a special permit to reduce your parking spaces because it's more important for us not to have parking along those neighbors. So now you clear it, you come in front of us and you put all the parking spaces, you put multiple, you put even more parking spaces where we didn't want it before. So if you want to compare apples to apples, draw that parking lot and draw the surrounding parking lot to your other one. And then say, okay, now we are comparing apples to apples. Our parking spots are not where,
And we've reduced the gross floor area from 115,000 to 30.
it doesn't matter.
It has to be.
It doesn't matter. The guy had no outside storage. He had no outside activity. He had 2 dumpsters for 112,000 square feet. He obviously knows his business. And he didn't even want signs on 44. He just wanted, little directional. He said, that's not the clientele that I go after. We were looking at each other saying, you have no outside storage. People back up, everything's done indoors.
But you can't use the approval saying, this is already cleared, so I got it. I want to use that, but I don't want to use what it used to be. You can't, use what's convenient to
I'm bringing it to
use.
existing conditions. We're all evaluating it based what's there today.
Well, we're not, I'm not evaluating, I'm evaluating it based on what it would have came in as an original site plan. Because we wouldn't have allowed all that clearing and all that parking if we knew it was gonna be a bunch of trucks. We wouldn't have allowed what is allowed here, so they're not the same thing, and they're not, you can't say, okay, I'm gonna approve this to clear it on a quiet basis, now I'm gonna put something noisy in there, but this approval's good. It just doesn't wash, I mean.
Well, all I can say is that whether it's noisy or not, we have to leave to the experts.
Well,
And
we
Epsilon
have to
will
leave it to the
advise
people
the
that
board.
that live next to it. I'm sure it's a lot noisier now than it
That's why
was.
I'm trying to deal with
I
facts
would
and conjecture.
like to, myself, it's up to you, I would like the board to make a motion that we direct Bob and we stop fooling around with this, reviewing this study, and I would suggest that we do our own study. Reviewing the study's
No,
not
I'm
gonna-
on board with that.
Reviewing the study's not gonna do any good. It's just not gonna happen.
All you're doing is
We're gonna, in a
checking
month from now, we're gonna be
the
doing the same, we're gonna be back talking about it. So I'd like to make a motion that we direct Bob to hire, I don't care if, this company said they couldn't do it until November. Well, I told them yesterday, there's gonna be multiple companies out there. We don't need to use the company
I
that,
thought they said September.
For the review,
Oh, okay.
you know, I mean, that's looking at what they did. I don't even want them to see that. I don't agree with the base.
I don't either.
And until we're done with until we're satisfied with the base, I think, you know, everything.
But why don't you let Epsilon tell you what they
Epsilon,
think, and then if you need a further study,
I don't need somebody to tell me what they think.
Well, they're gonna review data that's handed to them.
Right, that's all they,
But they're
That's all they're gonna
scientists.
Review that the guy added.
but they're scientists they're gonna review numbers. They're not doing their own study. That's not gonna work.
well,
So,
I'm not saying, I'm not objecting to another study.
Yeah.
I'm just, I thought Epsilon should weigh in, and maybe tell you what has to be done to either
I'd
validate
like
it or
I'd
invalidate.
like to make a motion that we direct Bob to hire a consultant. He can notify, he can get a price appraisal, he can get an appraisal, a price on it, a quote. He can notify the applicant through Maureen on what it's gonna cost to do our own study. And if they wanna go forward with the project, then I think that study needs to be done. And I would also suggest that whoever he hires comes in front of the board on a planning board night and sees and hears and gets all the information and all our concerns, because this is the only place he's gonna get our information. We already have going back and forth with this Epson company, and they, you know, they haven't even given us a piece of paper yet. And they're saying, well, we want the information from the board. It's just, it's,
I'm in full agreement. To have a second on that?
Second.
All in favor?
I,
Aye.
so,
I just got one quick question for
I
the
have lots
audience,
of
just on a
questions.
show of hands. Since this has been cleared, has it got louder? Okay, so your base is not your base. I just can't say it's existing conditions today. It's already raised the noise level, and I think,
But-
I don't want to talk any further about it, but I think that's going to have to be brought up to whoever we hire.
right, and the only way that you can, that I would be comfortable with that, if they're gonna raise that argument, is what would be the noise condition with eliminating, those parking spaces and doing everything that we did for the last approval? What, how could we come up with an evaluation for sound on what we approved? And I don't even know if they could. But, again,
But
I
we'll
think
have,
like Mr. Brennan said, this is standing on its own merit. What was done before, we've said it 100 times, doesn't mean what, the problem is,
Well, and we need a company that it can address what kind of berms, how high the berms need to be, et cetera, not just measuring noise.
Right.
What can we do about
we
it?
have a zero, a light overspill. Light from a business can't overspill the property line. Well, noise shouldn't overspill the property line.
and we haven't even touched on
So that's-
diesel and the fumes, and that's for another night.
Oh, I've got some questions, if you don't mind.
I
So,
don't
I'm-
mind, Burke.
Burke, I have seen in another matter a sound report that did suggest remediation
Okay.
for abutting property, so that's not uncommon. Measure it and then make suggestions as to how to remediate it, minimize it. That's well within a sound engineer's assignment.
And I think that's what we're gonna get, and not a review of what we're not comfortable with.
Mhm.
I don't wanna just review what was given to us, because, again, I don't,
I just think you should have your consultant tell you that you shouldn't be comfortable with it.
I'm not stupid. I mean, Jesus, I mean, that's an insult.
That's not an insult.
is. It's
These
common
people have
sense.
areas of expertise,
we're pulling
every
in-
man to his trade,
Yeah.
every woman to her trade.
Holy
Let
cow,
them
you
tell
don't
you.
have to be,
We'll
you don't have to be
take
an
their
expert,
advice.
you don't have to be an
There are rules.
expert.
If we're within the limits, if we're in the state limits, it's like driving by my house, the speed limit's 35. I go 33, the neighbor thinks it's too fast and yells at me to slow down. I'm going 33, I'm not breaking the speed limit. And then someone says, no, we want you to only go 30, and the speed limit's 35. I mean, there has to be a measuring stick
There
somewhere.
is.
That's my only point.
No, and I agree 100%. In our bylaw, what's in our rules and regs, and what's in our bylaw, says nothing about a base for noise.
I think our base
It
is
doesn't.
clearly what it was before.
It says nothing in there. It says that it's our job for noise, and until stupid me gets satisfied, I'm not satisfied. Just because you bring some guy in that says he's an expert, or he graduated from, I graduated from Bristol Plymouth. I'm a probably a dumb guy on the board, but
I don't even listen to myself.
it's,
You know?
I mean, it's just, it is what it is. I'm in construction, I hear noise. I read
Kids
about,
barking dogs at night.
it's just, I just can't see it. You're an experienced attorney, you sit in your office and you hear noise driving by your office, right? You're not out on the job site listening to
had-
trucks and,
You know, truck stop at the red light in front of me and pull the air horn, almost make me jump out of the seat. But it's 5 feet from my chair.
Is it 2 AM?
It's 5 feet from
I
my
wouldn't,
chair.
please, don't get in on the pig
Okay,
pile.
so we're not gonna solve this tonight. We have no, I don't think we have any objection. It's within your discretion. Your board do what it's gonna do on getting a sound test done. That's all. The board's gonna go in its own direction.
You were taking the truck, putting it in the bay, pulling out the engine and transmission to work on. You're not going to leave it sitting in the bay for the 3 weeks it gets worked on, right? You're going to drag it out into the lot?
I mean, well, we do that in Shrewsbury. We're not going to be doing that in Rainham, but yes, the truck will stay there.
In the bay?
We have multiple
There's
bays.
too many parts for them to move it. There's parts. You take that apart.
No engine transmission, you have to push it.
That's why it's done in
Color
this separate.
code, everything.
Okay.
We have a extension, time to act, if you could just fill that out. And,
There's no further questions.
Here, I'll take this down here. Thank you.
You're on a roll. Go ahead.
well, let him go.
You're working on a truck inside. First of all, you're going to have a ventilation system, a good ventilation system inside. Okay. You're working on a truck, and you need to let it idle. Is there any reason why you can't leave all idling trucks inside, hook up the exhaust to your fancy ventilation system, and not have any trucks idling outside at any time?
I don't want to say at any time. I mean, when a truck is, let's say a truck is pulling in for some reason, and it pulls up to the area where the service riders are, okay? First of all, it's not going to idle more than 3 minutes, because that's what the law is. But the trucks that are in, the other trucks that would be in for, you know, for PMs or for warranty or whatever, they're not running. If the truck is running because they're working on it, testing and whatever, it's within inside the building. We do no work outside, it's not OSHA.
All these trucks have air brakes, right? So the truck has to run as long as it takes to get that air brakes up to 90 pounds of pressure?
That was going to be my question, what happens in the winter?
All the trucks, all the big trucks have air brakes.
Yes.
So that truck has got, 3 minutes. Until those air brakes are brought up to the 90 pounds of pressure, that's when
Well,
you can
we
move.
also, if a truck is not, let's say a truck doesn't start, okay, we push it in.
Well, obviously.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, I'm just saying is
It's not
that,
starting, you
is
gotta
that-
get it in somehow.
But
I
if it
will-
starts, you're going to let it sit and idle till it warms up. And in the winter, that's going to be very frequent, I'd imagine. I mean, every truck you'd have to start, you're going to have them plugged in, and then you're going to start them, and they're going to sit.
I don't know about plugging them in, I've never seen extension cords running, you know.
Well, and you say, 3 minutes, and that's what the law requires or it allows, but that isn't really true, because if it's necessary, in your opinion, to have it idling longer for repair purposes, testing purposes, you can do that.
Indoors.
And-
I
didn't read
goes
that
by the
part.
law.
Yeah.
I know I do. Well, used to.
Yeah, but it's, all the work is done indoors.
Okay.
Chris,
I promised to shut up.
What's our time to act on this? What do you need for an extension on this?
No, Maureen.
It
Well-
depends on what you're comfortable with.
Just having the next, having that review done, how long did it take you to do your sound review?
The time
Well,
to
no, I'm
act
just
is
wondering
up
what you,
on September 2nd.
what are you comfortable on this? Because the extension of the planning board for time to act is granted until,
Right, well, that's what I'm asking. How long is it gonna take us to get that sound study?
Make it the end of November,
3 months?
just so you don't have to do it again, but maybe not do it again.
how about if we go October 15th and then just extend it again if needed? I just want to keep
That's fine.
focused on this. And then
When
if we
is
need
the
it-
second meeting in October?
Just make it the end of the month and be safe. Just make it the end of the month,
Yeah, okay, let's go October 30th.
31st.
Second meeting is the 18th, to answer your question.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, is everyone on the board all set?
Yeah, so it's just, you know, the thing that sticks with me is, you said you did a study, you're gonna have 7 people working there,
That's our, when I did the financial projections.
and two of them would be on the third shift. So I'm gonna take a guess, you got 4 on the first and 3 on the second, and you got 21 bays. And, you know, maybe this is not a good analogy, but do you build an 8-bedroom house for a family of 3? I don't understand, 21 bays, I'm having a lot of trouble with 21
I mean,
bays.
that's
That tells me
usually we like to
that,
have
well,
a few
let me finish.
It could
That
grow.
tells me that after you, if you get approval and everything's in place, next year, now you got 14 people, and there's not 2 people on the second shift anymore, there's 7 people on the second shift, on the third shift rather, and the noise is up threefold to it. That's what I see. Now, I could be 100% wrong, but that's what I see.
Well, like, say, for what we're doing in Shrewsbury, the amount of techs, I believe, on the overnight shift is, I believe, 4.
Just seems like a lot of space for the downs, the way you're down, speaking, the amount of work that's to be done. It's an awful big building for that. But anyway, that's just my opinion.
Bert promised to shut up from now on, right? So, should I go directly to Pam, or does anyone else want to talk? Okay. She's got to open it to the public, and this young lady wants to speak. And just ask you to state your name and your address.
Kathleen Quinn, 314 Judson, and I live directly across the street from the proposed building. And I would say undoubtedly there's absolutely more noise since all those trees were cut down. And if you drive down Judson, I know we've beat this to death, but this is the only swath of trees that have been cut down all the way down Judson. The Rainham Athletic Club, I don't see the back of that. I don't see the back of Wendy's. I don't see the back of Lowe's. Now I wake up every day, look out, and I'm saying, okay, when's this building coming? And this thing is very unfortunate they took all those trees down. The other point I haven't really heard about, I look on their Google reviews, some of the people that are there for 3 or 4 days. They're taking showers. What kind of people are coming into this area? Statistically, crime rates go up with truck stops. I know this is not a truck stop, but the people that are there for repairs do not want to be there. And they're not going to go book a night at the Marriott. Okay, we know that. So, I'm concerned about the level of crime that's going to go up. And that's not a good thing to abut a residential neighborhood. We all have children. We don't really need that extra worry when we go to sleep at night. So I would really raise that issue as well as terms of crime. All right, and, so I'm all about growth. This belongs in an industrial park. Please do not put this across the street from where I live and my neighbors, which have enjoyed that neighborhood. My parents have been here for over 50 years in Rainham. Let's not destroy this. All right, thank you. If FedEx was moving in, we wouldn't want FedEx there either. So, we're all about growth, but, I think what's even been done so far is unfair to the neighbors that live there, and especially that group home across the street. I feel very bad for those folks. That was their only piece of enjoyment, was to get out in their backyard, and I think it's a shame that those trees have been taken down, and I'm very angry about it. I see traffic now at nighttime, and why? That was not necessary. So don't talk to me about having good neighbors when they can go ahead and do that. So I'm very angry about it.
Anyone else, would you like to get up?
Brant Cruz, 279 Judson Street. Thank you all very much for all the great questions. Just a couple questions for the board. Earlier you brought up that the Newtown health person mentioned putting the overnight bays on the west side. Just wondering if there was a rationale for that as the west side abutter. Okay, if we could find, if there was a.
I don't even
Anything we can
think,
look at?
yeah, I don't think there was.
You're the east side.
That was, no, he's on the west.
I'm on the west side.
He's up at the hill.
Oh, you are?
I think when we have our study done, I think, that'll, hopefully we get information on
Great. And then.
doors and locations of doors and what would help.
Okay.
Hopefully we have some, we can use them for some direction, because it's just, we're just going around circles right now.
Sure. wondering, and this may be the genesis of a lot of your questions, but wondering to what degree the board has any power in the event that this was approved, but the service levels, like the number of overnight technicians, was materially higher than what they're claiming now.
I don't, you know,
I mean,
Chairman,
we can put conditions on it.
it's,
It's
yeah,
sometimes
I
they're
don't
tough
even
to
think it's
enforce.
up to us right now to even comment on that, only because it's
Yeah, we're
It's not here, and it's,
there yet.
you know, we're in the planning stages, and I think we comment on that, then we're putting
Okay.
cart before the horse.
Yeah.
Stay tuned, because that question might come up later, but
Anyone else? Are you gonna be long-winded, or should I pick this gentleman first? No? Okay. We'll save you, you'll be the grand finale.
you have to ask the app, that's theirs.
And again, state your name and
My
address.
name is Joseph Reed. I live at 329 Judson Street. Looking at what they're claiming the boundaries of their property line are, and if I look right here, based on the aerial view, the corner is on my driveway. This piece that goes to Judson Street is literally sitting on the house for,
I can explain that. This obviously was not done by survey. It was taken off the town's GIS site, which is much less than accurate.
well, it's the property lines.
Yeah, property lines, if for kind of rough informational purposes only, and half the time they go through houses, which I think I can see when going through a house right to the right,
Yeah, my
right
house.
there. So that depiction's,
Right, but if they're
It's off.
using this to say that there's 50 feet,
they're not. Their plan's actually done by survey. That's it from the GIS site, which is a town mapping. And the town mapping has several layers, like roadways, property lines. The only thing is, they don't match on top of each other like they're supposed to, and there's shifts. So they're very inaccurate. They're for, like, assessors records only. So in other words, what they're displaying is their site, but the proximity to abutting properties is inaccurate.
It's not an
It's only a
official
picture.
depiction, yeah.
Okay.
It's not an official depiction.
You know, it's for illustration only.
Congratulations, by the way, your wife had a baby, I heard?
yes, yesterday.
Life will change.
I guess you had one too, not just your wife.
Ms. Riley?
Yes, I just have an extra piece of correspondence for you. I apologize if we didn't get it to you sooner, but if I could read it into the record.
For the record, this is Pat Riley.
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry, member of the
King Street.
Rainham Board of Selectmen, exactly. It says, "Dear Chairman Gallagher and members of the Rainham Planning Board, we wish to advise you that at the regular meeting of the Board of Selectmen held on July 31st, a motion was made and approved unanimously to forward to you a letter expressing the board's concerns in its capacity as the Board of Health relative to the proposed location of an LLC freight line trucking sales and service center on the parcel of land at 1,000 New State Highway. In particular, the board is concerned about the resulting noise and air quality issues resulting from the development. Concern was expressed that the proposed development could be in violation of two of the Town of Rainham's zoning bylaws. The bylaw that states that any business is allowed in a business district also states that, quote, "no such use shall be permitted which would be unreasonably detrimental or unreasonably offensive or tend to reduce property values in the same or adjoining districts by reason of excessive dirt, odor, fumes, smoke, gas, sewage, refuse, noise, vibration, danger of explosion or fire." In addition, the bylaw prohibiting unnecessary, excessive, or unusual noise states that it shall be unlawful for any person or persons being present in or about any building, dwelling, premises, shelter, boat or conveyance, or any part thereof, other than that section of any establishment licensed under Chapter 138 of the General Laws, between 10 p.m. and 7 a.m., to cause or suffer or countenance any loud, unnecessary, excessive or unusual noises that is of particular concern with the proposed 24-hour operation of the business. The selectmen realize that the planning board is aware of the aforementioned bylaws. We are also aware that the planning board must operate within its legally prescribed responsibilities and limitations. Please note that the selectmen have full confidence in the planning board, and this is offered simply as an expression of concern for health reasons. We thank you for your attention. If we can be of any assistance, please don't hesitate to let us know. Thank you.
Mr. Riley? No, I don't see anyone else. Oh, I would recognize. Name and address for the record, please.
Pam Coney, 339 Judson Street. I am a little disorganized because we're jumping all over the place, but I did want to come and get some information because, like Attorney Brennan said, we don't really know exactly what's going to be going in Rainham compared to Shrewsbury. So I apologize in advance, but I'm going to jump all around different points here. One thing I wanted to ask, and I don't know if I need to do it through you or directly, but the picture that you have right there, the front, the top, yep. I know they talked about the different levels of service that they offer in Shrewsbury and how that will not happen in Rainham, and they have like an engine repair and different leased sections of their property. Does that portion of the property represent the main building that would be comparable to what's going in Rainham? Does that that is not inclusive of any leased property, or I'm trying to get a feel for what that relates to in comparison.
Relates to kind of what Rainham would look
Okay,
like.
so that it would not be inclusive of any leased land or any extra bays? Or,
No.
Okay, so that's a fair comparison to what we can expect.
And I think it's a fair assumption to
Okay.
assume pretty much
All right.
how it's
Because I know
run in
there's different
Shrewsbury would
levels
be
that they
here.
have. They have tractor trailers that are up higher on a huge berm, and I just wanted to be clear with what that represented. You know, we talked a lot about how many technicians are going to be on during different shifts. I think you said there was 4 in Shrewsbury and 1 in Rainham. Their website says they have 30-plus technicians and 3 full shifts. So I don't know how that translates into 4 at night, but they're claiming 30-plus technicians and 3 full shifts. So I don't know how accurate the website is, or if anything has changed, or if maybe technicians...
We've called it into question that why would 21 bays have one
Right.
technician? But
I know that we touched briefly on we never really got an answer. If people are waiting for their vehicles to be repaired and they have a tractor trailer that has a sleeper component, are they allowed to sleep there while they're waiting? We were told it wasn't a truck stop, but again, they do offer private diners lounge with recliners, mini kitchens and showers, free Wi-Fi. So that is, like Ms. Quinn stated, a concern. I mean, what's really going on there? And, I mean, showers, it might not be a truck stop, but it doesn't have to be because they have everything right there. One other thing. Again, I'm all over the map tonight. I'm sorry. They keep talking about no repairs ever being done outside. Are the bays in Shrewsbury numbered? Do they have like a little number over each of that represent like Bay 1, Bay 2, Bay 3?
yes,
They do, so, okay. So the bays that have the number above them are from Tri-State. It's not a leased portion. And where I'm going with this is that we continually hear how there's no work being done outside, but we did visit the site Tuesday, and there were people working outside, and I have some pictures of it. And it's not just one person working outside, they're all lined up outside the bays working on the trucks. So that's why I was trying to identify, just for accuracy, if this is,
yeah, that can't be true because the law says you can't do that.
that's what I thought, but, you know, just for clarification purposes. There
Do you
are,
have any copies that we could have for the record at some point, or could you make some? Okay.
so they are working outside. It's not just one truck, there's actually maybe 4. I can double check, but it's my understanding.
So while they're working outside, if somebody's working inside, those pictures have the garage doors wide open?
The doors are all open.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I would imagine they would be in the summer. I mean, I've never driven by any place that has the bays down. So I wanted to bring that to attention. Mr. Cruz touched upon the possibility of, just because they said that there's gonna be one bay open, what happens again with growth and, oh, we're really busy, but as you stated, we're gonna talk about that later. I guess the big question that I have is, what are you doing with all that space? Are you test driving where do you test drive the vehicles? Like, when, after you repair them, is that what all that open space is for, or what are you gonna put there? I'm still, again, maybe I'm missing something, but what's going there? I know they said maybe 30 new tractor trailers.
Well, I think the majority of the site's parking. I guess they
I'm
could test
missing
drive them
it.
around the parking lot or go out
Right.
onto Route
So they
44, I
could
don't,
test drive at
Yeah.
night. If you're running a third shift, you're not gonna say, I can't test drive this, because it's nighttime, they're gonna utilize the space that they have there.
Mhm.
Okay. So I just wanted to bring that to attention. The last thing, well, not the last thing, but one thing I do have, and I don't know if it's something you guys wanna go over tonight, but I do have a list of the waivers that they've requested, and I don't really understand them. So I can't really,
Stay tuned.
okay.
That's not something that we should.
Okay, because one of them, right off the bat, I take huge issue with.
Yeah,
Okay, but we can talk about that later.
we haven't even,
No, we're not there yet.
even gotten to that point.
Okay. Now, really, I promise, the last thing that I have is, I'm trying to tie this into our claim last week that it does not fit the use of the property according to the bylaw. It stated with the noise, pollution, it also mentioned increased risk of fire and potential explosions. And I just want to go on the record to say that I understand a fire can happen anywhere. I fully appreciate that, accidents happen. However, if the Reedy's house, God forbid, catches on fire, it's a standard house fire situation. You're gonna, it's bad, but you know what you're gonna expect. If there is a fire in that facility behind us, we have a parking lot full of trucks that have diesel in them. So it puts us at an increased risk for any type of exposure to anything toxic or any type of hazardous fumes, just by the nature of the business, the amount of trucks that are gonna be there, the amount of equipment that's getting moved. I mean, if you're running a,
again, when we go through it, after, several iterations on review, we're gonna look at each thing to see if we feel that this does meet that portion of the bylaw,
right,
and, see if it's acceptable or unacceptable. And if it complies to the noise, the fumes, the fitting in the neighborhood, all the different criteria that it has to apply by, and all the things Selectman Riley had stated.
and again, I just wanted to bring that up. I know that they did have, I have the Clean Harbors report here from a fire they had in 2015. It broke out at like 3:30 in the morning and 7 trucks burnt right up, so.
Was that in Shrewsbury?
It was. So that is concerning to me because, obviously Clean Harbors has to come to pick it up, but if there's and this is where I'm pretty weak and I'm probably gonna embarrass myself, but if there's a drainage basin that's supposed to catch all the overflow, I think, we went to the conservation meeting, I think it's a 1,400 gallon, I'm not sure. One fire truck alone will fill that up and well, so we are at increased risk for all that flowing over. That's all I have for that. But, if we could maybe get a clearer picture of what actually, test driving, are they gonna have a DOT inspection spot as well at this facility?
I think he said
If
that
they will?
they
Okay.
were licensed to inspect.
All right. And that's, I think that's all that I have. That's all I have.
Okay, well, thanks. Anyone else? I think we're going to continue the hearing. I'm not sure to what date. We really can't move a lot forward without having some sort of noise study done.
Well, again, like I mentioned last time, I would continue having it because there's going to be things that are going to come up. We're going to need to discuss, if it's not on the agenda, how do we discuss
Well, I was going to
the information?
I was going to ask the applicant what he thinks would be prudent to continue it to. You could either have this September 20th, is our next meeting. Our meeting after that is the first Thursday in October.
September, you don't meet,
I mean, September
6th.
6th,
6 is the first meeting.
and the 20th, the second.
I think we ought to just put it on for the 6th, and we'll bring in whatever additional information we
Okay.
can that the board might have.
I mean, I'm not hopeful that we're going to get
You
a
you won't have
response.
your sound study by then, but there's so many other things out there that we can
Yeah, I'm
at
hoping
least
we
touch
have
upon.
someone signed up to do it by then, but that's, I know we're not going to have it by then.
Well, we can go over, if we have a contract, Bob will present it, and we can go over that and agree, and they'll be in front of us, so we're not doing it over the phone, and
And it would be better to have Bob at our meeting.
Yeah, I mean,
Because he
yeah.
may have issues
We have to
that
pay
we
for
haven't
it, so I
seen.
think the applicant, should know who it's going to be and make sure there's no conflict with the engineering. That happens sometimes.
I'd make a motion that we put it at 6:30 on September 6th. Continue this meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you very much.
all right.
Okay, the only, so that's, nobody's going to get re-notified. September 6th at 6:30 will be the next meeting. We have some other business minutes there. I don't see any.
No, not tonight.
Okay, correspondence, there wasn't any of that either.
Well, we have this from Madison Homes LLC.
We just went over with, wasn't that with the Ferrioni, with the two of them?
No,
Oh, the Madison Homes is that,
this is Sandy Hill.
okay, that was Sandy Hill, and
Sandy Hill's plan is not recorded.
that's not recorded as well, so that's in the same boat. So I'd recommend we take no action on this, then.
Well, what we have to do is, Bob has to direct him that he cannot give him building permits.
He's gonna, is this beyond 6 months as well?
No, Maureen checked, and it's, they got
Oh, wait a minute, yeah, let me check that again.
the Sullivan one.
No, the Sullivan one hasn't been signed.
We haven't even signed the Sullivan one.
No.
So we have it
Doesn't
here.
even have a signature block on it yet.
Yeah, so we're not gonna
So,
take any action on it until they, I mean, Bob can tell them, but
Well,
that's at
what-
their peril.
but the Sullivan thing and this guy, two different things.
Oh, they're not the same?
They're not. This guy bought the two house lots from
Oh, okay,
town
okay,
that auctioned it off.
okay, I thought.
Sullivan's plan is a plan that we approved.
Okay,
This guy can't build until those conditions are done from the plan we approved. So my suggestion is we let Bob know, no, he cannot issue building permits for these two house lots until that plan that we approved, the work is done to pass his property.
from what I understand, the guy who's supposed to do the work is sitting back, waiting for the other one to do the work. So if these people want to do the work themselves,
Bring a plan
they
into
can
us.
bring a plan in and do it.
Exactly. If they want their name on the plan so they can do it, then they have to get that plan that we approved and do some design work, resubmit, if he can't get in touch with Mr. Sullivan to even ask him if he's gonna come back in front of us to have it signed, then
I mean, that's, they can do one of two ways. They can try to work out a deal with the guy, or they can come in on their own, with their own plan.
Right.
And so just ask Bob to relate that to them.
and don't issue any building permits.
Okay, and then,
You want to make that a motion? You want
don't really have to, I mean, it's just to tell Bob to,
So moved.
we could, okay, all in favor?
Aye.
There's two plans to be signed?
Yeah, no, they're not ready. They weren't ready today.
Okay. Planning coordinator update, no Bob. Serpent update,
I gave it last time after the meeting's only once a month, it's the end of the month.
okay.
And there is no August meeting.
So I guess that leaves us with nothing left.
There seems to be a young
Do
lady.
you want
who I think
anything,
wants to
Judy?
speak to us.
Huh?
She wants to run for planning board.
You don't want to be alone?
I don't want you guys to be alone.
Oh, okay,
So that's why you stay?
okay,
Thank you.
okay. Well, tell Ugly I said hi.
Motion to
Yeah,
adjourn.
motion to adjourn, second.
All in favor?
Aye, so there was like 4 seconds on that one.